It's 1999, my mom passes away from liver cancer. I'm 25 years old, single child, wet behind the ears and gullible. 80% of my mother's estate at the time, about $16,000, but we're not in the USA, pays out to me. My dad says due to my mom's deteriorating mental health they never had time to change her will, the money should have come to him. Can I pay it over to him? I agree, because one is supposed to trust your parents. Fast forward about 5 years and one brief, failed marriage later, he finds himself a nice Russian bride. The dynamic changes and he badmouths my late mom at every barbecue etc., and his new wife is the best thing ever. I move cities, get married, start a family of my own. We chat on the phone once a week or every 2 weeks but don't see each other for years, 8 years to be exact. Him and the Russian bride come and visit once, borrow my truck to go to a big national park. I gave it to them with a full tank of diesel, I got it back empty, with the light on. In 2023 he sold his house and moved to Russia with the bride. I'm not sure if he invested the house's money locally or if he moved it to Russia. I suspect the latter so that the bride has easy access to it when he falls over. My, now late wife, falls ill and passes away last year. I send a message to everyone after she passed away with all the funeral details and what happened. My dad's response: oh, now that's bad news. He doesn't bother flying in for the funeral service or anything. He messages me a few weeks later, asking if she was cremated or buried. Like WTF. I speak to his sister, a highly educated PhD with many law degrees etc. We speak about my mom's passing and the similarities to what happened to me. I mentioned the inheritance. She freaks out. She, being legally qualified, helped my mom with the will in the hospital before she passed away as she knew my dad would be a douche about the money. I confront my dad about the money, 25 years after he swindled me out of it. He denies it, then tries to claim the amount was 10% of what it truly was, and with every lie I bring out what I remember to be the truth, along with evidence. Eventually I tell him never to contact me again, and stop answering his messages. He tries to message me once a while, but it's more and more random. Turns out that it looks like he has early stages of dementia. A few months later some distant family contacts us, asking why I have no contact with my father, because he reached out to them to talk, and he seems lonely. We suspect the bride leaves him alone at home because with dementia he is a handful and she doesn't want to deal with him. We tell them what happened and they understand. As time passes, his sister is now asking me to forgive him for what he did and to free my soul from these shackles, as she calls it. My reply was from the series Billions. Hate is nature's most perfect energy source. It's endlessly renewable. I have no urge to forgive him, but, comment 1. NTA, he took advantage of you in a very vulnerable state. You don't have to forgive and forget that. Especially since he has zero remorse. Anyone who can't understand that because he's family, I'd ask if they would be okay with someone stealing $16,000 from them. Comment 2. NTA. You are not shackled by unforgiveness but simply holding someone accountable. Your boundaries are valid. Forgiveness works when someone acknowledges their wrongs. Your father has not. He exploited your trust at your most vulnerable moment. Your aunt calls it shackles, I call it damn consequences. Would forgiving him bring you peace or just comfort others? Comment 3. He didn't just steal your inheritance, he stole your trust. And then torched your mom's memory at every barbecue like it was charcoal. 6. You're not bitter, you're healed enough to recognize betrayal. Forgiveness is earned, not owed. Story 2. Telling my stepdad he's not sharing father of the bride duties with my dad at my wedding? I'm 27F, getting married in a few months and my dad is walking me down the aisle and we're planning a 4-person dance with me and him and my fiancé and his dad. As soon as my fiancé and I decided this was what we wanted, I was upfront with my stepdad about the fact he would not be given any father of the bride duties. I knew he'd expect and want them, so I wanted to get on top of it so he and my mom couldn't accuse me of blindsiding them/him. He's been with my mom since I was a few months old. He always saw me and my brother, 29, as his kids. but we always saw Dad as our only dad. There were a lot of fights that were kept from me and my brother as kids over this. My stepdad wanted Dad to make space for him to do some of the dad things. My dad didn't want to give up any time or things with us that he had, since he already lost the ability to see us all the time. Mom was always presenting it like stepdad was our primary dad. But she and Dad shared equal custody, and my dad did more than my stepdad. He worked extra hours when we were with Mom so he could leave early and be with us after school. He was involved in school, in extracurriculars, in our friendships, and he showed up to extracurricular events or school events even if it was Mom's time. Which was allowed BTW. That stuff was seen as anyone could come. Dad's the only one who came to everything. My stepdad isn't a bad guy, but his want to be more to us than he is has left for a lot of hurt feelings on his part and frustration on ours. This is another one where I saw it coming and I hoped getting ahead of it would help. But he was angry at me for my decision and for telling him. Mom's angry for both as well. They said it was humiliating him to tell him so straightforwardly and to basically demote him as not father of the bride. I told him I never demoted him because he never was father of the bride. He just wanted to be. He told me I should have made a bunch of different decisions. And in case people ask, he's, stepdad, not paying for the wedding or financing any part of it. Comment 1. NTA. You were honest and respectful by telling your stepdad up front, which was the mature thing to do, especially since you knew there could be expectations. It's your wedding, and it makes sense that you'd want your actual dad, who's been consistently present, to have those special roles. Wanting something doesn't entitle someone to it, and setting clear boundaries doesn't make you cruel, it makes you fair. Comment 2. NTA. It's your wedding. Curious what kind of emotional relationship you have with your stepdad, given he was with your mom since months of age, so he has had exclusive parental access 50% of the time during your entire living memory, yet somehow never bonded with you during that time as a baby, then a toddler, a grade school kid, middle and high school. Do you have a good relationship with Mom? Because the way you write about it, you sound a bit resentful of her as well. Was the mom and stepdad part of your upbringing not great? Plus there's been at least 9 intervening years living independently to grow apart, I presume. Story 3, winning my mom's storage unit at auction instead of giving her the money to save it herself. I, 24F, was in and out of the foster care system. My mom would lose custody of me and my 3 siblings, only to do the bare minimum to get us back, just for the cycle to repeat. I eventually aged out of foster care, went to college, and moved to another state. I still check in with my mom every week. She was diagnosed with heart failure, which came on from other terrible decisions. I offer support when she reaches out, whether it's with money, food, etc. Most of the time I don't hear back. And when I do, it's usually because she wants something. She has a long history of lying to and stealing from all of us. She's currently homeless. We have offered her a place to stay if she gets clean, and she won't. After we turned 18, we reconnected with our extended family, grandparents, and cousins, and those relationships have become important to us. A couple of months ago, she called me in a panic at 2 o'clock in the morning. She said her storage units were about to be auctioned off, that she wasn't even behind on payments, and that the owners were trying to scam her. She needed $1,000 immediately because there were only 15 hours left before the auction. I told her I'd check in the morning once I got to work and see what I could do. The next day, I did some digging and looked at the contents of the storage units. What was listed broke my heart: family photos, vases from great-grandparents, personal documents, birth certificates, social security cards, my mom's clothing and tools, and everything from my grandmother's house. She passed away just last year. I decided to bid on the unit myself and ended up spending nearly $1,200 for it. Afterward, I spoke to the owners, who told me they'd been trying to help my mom for months, discounts, payment extensions, etc., but eventually, she just stopped answering them. They said they had no other option but to auction it. I was devastated. My siblings said that if I hadn't stepped in, All of those memories and important documents would have ended up in a stranger's hands. My siblings were relieved and grateful. But my mom? She accused me of violating her trust, told me Elle emotionally robbed her, that I stole from her, and said I was a mistake. She even claimed our grandparents would be ashamed of me. I ended up taking a few days off work, drove out of state to the unit, and went through everything. I only kept what belonged to me and my siblings' photos, documents, anything tied to our family history. I didn't throw away a single item of hers. Instead, I rented a new storage unit just down the road, moved all her belongings there, and paid 3 months in advance. I gave her all the info. Now I'm stuck with this heavy feeling. I can't shake the guilt, like Elle crossed a line or sank to her level somehow. But at the same time, I couldn't bear to see everything important to us vanish, especially knowing it would probably happen again in 6 months. Comment 1. You can't save her by helping her the way she wants to be helped. Furthermore, she's proving to be an emotional hazard for you. You know, in emergency response, they teach you, you can't save someone unless it's safe for you to do so. They do that because if you make a mistake, now there's 2 people who need saving. You have to put on your air mask first. NTA. Comment 2. NTA, I think that's a great solution. If you gave her cash, what are the chances she wouldn't have used it to save the unit anyway? And even if she had, what about the following months when she defaults again? It doesn't sound likely that she would have given you the items, so this way you legally could retrieve what belonged to you or others, and even gave her the opportunity to keep her own things. I'm sorry to say, your mother is probably never going to change. This is who she is. I don't think you need to go no contact if you don't want to, but I think you need to lower your expectations. This will always be how she treats you, so protect yourself and what is important to you. Story 4. Refusing to let someone check my phone after a coworker accused me of taking pictures of her. So this happened at work. I, 18M, was on my stuff normally, scrolling through my phone and watching YouTube videos, when a coworker, 17F, suddenly accused me of taking pictures of her. That caught me off guard. I told her I hadn't taken any photos and that I was just watching videos on it, but she didn't believe me and started getting louder and kinda annoying, drawing attention from nearby coworkers. She said that if I had nothing to hide, I should just show her my photos. Luckily, the manager was nearby and came over because of the commotion. We both explained our sides. The manager said that if I wasn't hiding anything, I could just show the last 2 pictures on my phone to clear it up quickly. But the thing is that had a lot to hide that I didn't want to show, nothing illegal, creepy or weird, and definitely nothing involving her, but still private stuff that I didn't want anyone else seeing. So I refused. I told the manager I was willing to prove my innocence in other ways, but I didn't want to compromise my privacy. As a good faith gesture, I showed my phone's battery usage stats, which clearly showed I hadn't used the camera app recently. I also suggested to check the security footage. After reviewing the footage, it showed my phone was pointed at the ground the entire time and the angle wouldn't have even allowed me to take a picture of her. So I was cleared. Even so, a few of my coworkers later told me I should have just shown the photos because she had the right to know if she was harassed. I told them that the evidence proved my innocence and there was absolutely no need to show anything. Especially not to her, someone who I've never trusted. Comment 1. NTA. Everyone thinks they're a main character these days. When worked in retail, me and this lady crossed paths. I was looking downwards and then shifted my glasses and kept walking. Then I heard her scream, "You just looked through my purse." Which I obviously didn't, and I told her I adjusted my glasses and looked at her like she was crazy. She was /is. The cameras were a perfect solution in this context, as it wouldn't assume guilt on anyone's end. Comment 2. NTA. If she wanted to make allegations, then the onus is on her to prove it. The manager was out of line suggesting that you had to defend yourself simply because she made a baseless claim. If she had suggested that you touched her inappropriately, would that have set off an investigation? Are we at a point where people can't use their phones around others for fear that someone somewhere will accuse them of making recordings? If she's that sensitive, then she shouldn't appear in public spaces where she may be recorded. Does she pitch a fit over security footage, too?